Well, it's Tuesday Wrestling, and you know what that is. So today we'll be reviewing two wrestling promotion shows, not three as normally I do, but this time it's going to be a little different. I'll explain to you guys right now. There is no NWA this week. They're taking some time off due to the fact of the new restrictions that's been happening with the coronavirus. But however, I will throw in some news updates, mostly one about regarding to Brodie Lee, and the other one we hit tragedy. If you guys are familiarized with uh, WCW star Damien 666, tragic struck in his family. So all of that will be reviewed and discussed about on this episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, many promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I'm your host, J Rod here. So right now we're gonna start with AEW Dark. Now before I move on any further, I want you guys to keep notice. As you know, the recent news took place about the unexpected, shocking passing of Brodie Lee. Much of this show was done on the exact same day on Dynamite, due to the fact that many of their Dynamite shows are recorded first, and then they do the AEW Dark, and then that's how it happened. But however, because of what happened, because this was pre-taped last week, this took place before um, the announcement of Brodie Lee, and the latest news came around that this coming Wednesday on Dynamite, they're going to throw in a special tribute show. Basically, from what I understand, Brodie Lee's son, Brodie Lee Jr., had like his own favorite dream matches that he created, and Tony Khan decided to book this because he wanted to give the kids something to to have fun with. And this already been announced. Matches were made and all that. I'm excited. So this will be the first time, in my personal opinion, AEW doing a first ever wrestler who passed away. We haven't seen that with WWE because A, he's no longer with them, and B, I don't think they would do anything that they feel maybe AEW should do it or so. But who knows? But however, there were mentions on many things that happened. Like for example, on this first match, it was this guy named Very Morales versus Ray Phoenix. Now, as you know, they mentioned that Ray Phoenix is scheduled to face Kenny Omega this Wednesday, but however, that was pushed back a little later, according to Tony Khan, from what he's saying. So basically, much of this match event was not yet been aware of, has not been foretold about Brodie Lee's passing, but they did an memory of Brodie Lee in the start of the show. But this match was very interesting. As you know, there's always been mostly the jobbers and the top stars. And I'll just tell you anyway, Ray Phoenix won this particular match. He was preparing, making this as a warm up before he faced Kenny Omega for the AEW World Title coming up on, I'm assuming, the 13th of January. So it was pushed back 2 weeks later for whatever was booked this coming Wednesday. Now, the next match is a women's match. We have Lindsay Snow versus the super bad girl, Penelope Ford. We yet to see her yet in Dynamite, but she's always being pushed to go to the top. Doing a fantastic job, especially her being flexible and all this. So she won her match against Lindsay Snow. Next match is a tag team match. We have Sean Dean and Tyson Maddox versus Dark Order members John Silver and Alex Reynolds. Pretty good match, including I like how Silver and Reynolds have been a very stable tag team in this particular time. Even since joining the Dark Order, and they won this match as well. Now we go. Then we have another match. This time we have Jasmine Allure, who's making a second appearance, being on AEW, facing against the Queen Slayer herself, AJ. I mean Anna Jay. As you know, she is. As you know, Anna Jay has been very impressive since the time. Uh, she won her match as well by applying the Queen Slayer chokehold that she normally does on various occasions. So she won her match. Then we have another segment of the waiting room with Britt Baker. This time their special guest is what's his name? Matt Sydal. Now keep in mind he was already booked in the match against Cody this Wednesday, but I'm assuming because of what happened to Brodie Lee, that match will be pushed. Pushed back a little, maybe 2 weeks from now. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll find out once they make the official announcement next week. But he was also talking about Cody and all this, not like in a kind of like how Britt Baker disrespects him in every way, but tried to prove a point that he thinks he's all that kind of thing. Now the next match is a 6-man tag team match. We have Ryzen, Nick Komoroto, and James Tapia, first time being here, facing off against all members of Team Taz, being accompanied none other by Hook, Taz's son. You get to see Hook actually pull a clothesline on Ryzen, while the ref didn't see it. So you probably ask yourselves now, if you've been seeing Taz's son making his appearance, will he wrestle? Well, we don't know yet when that day will happen, but I'm sure we'll probably be excited to see what he can do. Even Excalibur talked about it, saying, he has the same kind of facial expressions as you, and he's like, he got that from me, but he has a huge chip on the shoulder. That's what he was. So basically, he's trying to give more of his son's, how he would act, being like already out there. But of course, as always, Team Taz won this particular match. The next match we have is, first thing first, we had none other than Pretty Peter Avalon doing his Pretty Peter proclamation pageant, where he's scouting people to join him. And the one person, this match he was commentating, it was Fuego del Sol versus Griff Garrison. So it was revealed that he was scouting Griff Garrison, saying he has a beautiful face and beautiful hair. All this, and it was a pretty good match, even though Griff Garrison, he's officially with AEW. But unfortunately, he did win the match. But after that, it appears like he invited him to join him, but I don't think Griff Garrison had any interest in joining him. But Peter did not like a no for an answer. Now, do we get to see him face off? Like, if you lose, you join him? But the real question is, what's going to happen to Brian Pillman Jr., since they're a stable tag team, the Varsity Blondes? Well, I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens maybe in the upcoming weeks or so. I'm assuming this story will continue on Dark. The next match we have is a tag team match. We have TNT, the Sons of Devon Dudley, facing off against none other than Santana Ortiz. Pretty good. It was a pretty good match. I did like it, even though TNT are mostly the losing, but they did show a little bit of character in this match. But however, it's Santana and Ortiz that won this match to begin with. Then the next match we have Aaron Solo versus fellow Inner Circle member Sammy Guevara. So basically, you see in this particular match the same cockiness from Sammy Guevara, and all this and that. So he won his match by surprise. But however, he did made a very interesting promo where he's saying that it was his 10-year anniversary as a pro wrestling. He feels like he has worked very hard, and he feels giving the entire locker room in the back on short notice that he is paying attention to what's going on. So he's giving them time to pay attention. I know you guys are there. So that's sort of thing that I've been seeing. Now, next match we have is another tag team match. We have Chilean representative Ariel Levy and El Cuervo de Puerto Rico facing off against Chaos Project. Now, I'm gonna pause a little bit about explaining you guys who this. I don't know who this guy named Ariel is, but El Cuervo de Puerto Rico. I am familiarized with him. What was it? A couple years ago, El Cuervo was in a match in Mexico. Apparently, he got struck in the head with a cinder block during the match by. Don't remember who the opponent was, but it was a horrible time. Cuervo could have died, from what I understand, but now he recovered. He spent years trying to get his head together, knowing that he took extensive damage. It should have put him out, for ending his career, but he didn't. He wanted to continue doing what he loved, is wrestling, and that's what he did. He has been making appearances in various promotions from not only in his native country of Puerto Rico, but also in Mexico and some independent promotions here in the States. So is both of these guys, including Cuervo, their first time being there. Now, as you know, Chaos Project has been the most odd team ever. As you know, Luther has been using Serpentico as a weapon, tossing him around, using him, swinging him around, that sort of thing. But the match kind of went in that general direction, the way I've been seeing it. And of course, that sort of teaming allowed both Luther and Serpentico to win their match. So, but I hope we get to see more of El Cuervo de Puerto Rico. He has an interesting look, and oddly, he did not wear his paint face makeup, which we normally see. But yeah, the next match we have Dani Limelight. No, wait, I skipped a match. We have a women's match. This one is from Maddie Ronkowski versus Leva Bates. It was not the best match for me, but it was. They're still trying to develop more with Leva Bates on this one, but I'll tell you anyway. She won her match on this one. I'm assuming that they're trying to give her a nice, good push when she's ready to jump into Dynamite, but we'll see what happens when we get there. Now, the next match, like I said, it was Dani Limelight versus Matt Sydal. Now, I was so stoked to hear that Dani was actually facing against Matt Sydal. I'm a fan of both these guys, but however, you know how this goes. Normally, it's the top star like Matt Sydal who takes up the victory, and that's what he did when he applied his finisher maneuver that he always does, his submission move, and he won the match. Next match, we have another women's match. We have Vixen versus Tayconti. As you know, Tayconti is not an official member of Dark Order. She is, in fact, affiliated with them due to the fact of her friendship with Tayconti, but we don't know if she will ever join. But we'll see about that in a couple of months. But it was a good match, seeing her doing a lot of submission moves on that. Don't forget, she's an expert in jiu-jitsu, and it did help her pick up a victory on this match. The next one we have is a six-man tag team match. We have Baron Black, Royal Money, and Mike Verna versus the Gun Club, both Billy, Austin, and Colton. There was a moment I did like in this when they all ganged up on Colton, but Austin did not like that, so he tried to be the big brother that he is to stand up for his little brother and took all three of them down. And he did pick up the victory to ensure they win. But however, he put out a little promo saying, "You mess with one member of the family, we'll be jumping you." So basically, he's giving his little statement saying that if you jump me, I'll jump you. Now we got the main event. This is between the Hybrid 2 versus SCU. Now, keep in mind, not too long ago, Daniels and Kazarian made an appearance on the waiting room saying, "Let's have one more match. If we don't win, then we break up." So basically, it was that match. And however, in the beginning, it was like they wouldn't look each other or they wouldn't, whoever. Like they were having a little bit more of distance from each other. But at some point, they were able to pick up the momentum as much as Hybrid 2 trying to make the momentum work in their favor, but it did not. It did allow for SU to finally pick up a victory, and they were getting back on top. But however, their little victory was cut short when they were attacked by none other than the sore losers, the Acclaim, who recently lost to the Young Bucks to obtain the AEW World Tag Team titles. So it appears that but however, the Bucks decided to save their longtime friends And this time, we don't know for sure if this is over between the Acclaim. The Acclaim claims that they should be the ones to have those titles, but they lost to them because they tried to cheat their way through. So, I think that's it for now for AEW Dark. So, hope you guys are ready to see this tribute show, and I'm excited for it for AEW. So, right now, let's move on to Impact Wrestling. All right, so right now we're in part 2 of Impact Wrestling for the best of 2020. As you know, there's been some great matches, great storylines that Impact Wrestling done this year. So here's some of the ones that do. They did an amazing recap with the previous Slammiversary 2020. As you know, there was a lot of surprises where Eddie Edwards won the Impact World title in a 5-way match. We had the sudden appearance of the Good Brothers and the Motor City Machine Guns. And of course we have Deonna Purrazzo winning the I think was it this one? Yeah, Deonna Purrazzo winning uh the Knockouts title and all this and that. So it was a pretty good pay-per-view, not gonna lie. I did like this one. And same thing with Bound for Glory, but this is one of those pay-per-views I did enjoy the most. So I have to say great props. So they throw in an interesting match. This one took place in Rebellion months ago. This one was for the X Division Championship. It was between Willie Mack, who was the challenger at the time, facing off against Ace Austin, who was the X Division champion, where he won this title last year. But however, he had to put it on the line against Willie Mack. It was a pretty good match. It did show like Ace Austin was doing whatever it takes to win this match. But however, it was Willie Mack who pulled up the victory and becoming X Division champion. And since then, he held on to the title before losing it to Chris Bay. Then we have a little message from Deonna Purrazzo. As you know, ever since Deonna Purrazzo beat Rosemary in that match for the Knockouts title, Kimberly decided to suppress Taya Valkyrie's buns and all this and that. Not to mention, it was Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary that cost Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly not to advance in the tournament for the Knockouts Tag Team Titles tournament. And they got even with them, costing them a chance to win that tournament. It was payback, and this time Taya Valkyrie decided to step up and face Deonna Purrazzo. As you know, Taya Valkyrie is the longest reigning Knockouts champion. But however, Deonna Purrazzo has some things to say, saying that she is building an empire, that she will do whatever it takes and prove a point that she is the best technical wrestler in the world. Now, she has not been wrong about that, but however, how well do you face with against the longest reigning Knockouts champion ever? I'm talking about Taya Valkyrie. She held that title for almost over a year. So that is the difference between Taya Valkyrie and Deonna Purrazzo. Next thing we have is a bit. This one is very touching, I have to say. The story about Rich Swann. This dates back when Rich Swann injured himself when he was in a tag team match with what's his name, with Willie Mack. Then he made his surprise reappearance at Slammiversary, where we thought he will be okay. He actually took out Eric Young, eliminating him in a 5-way match. But however, it was in fact Eric Young who was angry and claims that he gave him a way out. He even, when they were setting up his retirement, Eric Young viciously attacked them, saying that he did him a favor, that he gave him a way out. Rich Swann didn't see things that way, so basically he begged Scott D'Amore, the EVP, to give him an opportunity to face Eric Young for the title. And every time Eric Young hears, he's trying to tell him, I give you a way out. This world does not belong to you. So every time he tries and tries and tries to get rid of him, it doesn't seem. This led to him for Rich Swann to finally beat Eric Young and obtain the Impact World title from his possession. And that is like a kind of like a Cinderella story in a way. So we're seeing great things happening with Rich Swann in this particular match. And I think the match took place that he won was in Turning Point. So that is one of those good stories that we like. Now, the next match we did see is a recap with when the Motor City Machine Guns beat the North for the titles. This was the first time they lost it. As you know, the North at the time were in fact the longest reigning champions for the tag team titles. They held those titles over the year, but this time facing off against a familiarized team that who's been the fan favorite Impact. I'm talking about the Motor City Machine Guns. This allowed the Guns to win the match and put the North in a disarray type of way where they're losing their minds. So that kind of thing ended up. Now, the next thing we see is a little recap from a very interesting bit, a sitcom type. We're talking about Wrestle House. If you recall, this is the one where Tail Valkyrie, Rosemary, Johnny Bravo, Susie, uh, Alicia, the Deaners, Triple XL, Swinger, and Crazy Steve. They all were stuck in the house with Tommy Dreamer being the host. I had a lot of fun memories watching that. It was really interesting to watch. I don't know if we ever see that again. I would love to see that. Oh, and I forgot to mention Kylie Ray. This is before she made her second retirement in her history. Now we get to the next an interesting pay-per-view. This one is in Final Resolution. This one is for the X Division title. Now, if you all recall, Rohit Raju played Chris Bay in order to obtain the title. Now, he claims that he's been giving opportunities, but however, he's putting himself over. It's because he was sick and tired of being the bottom of the totem pole, and he believes that winning him will put him on the top. But however, he always finds a way to ensure he stays on top. Even the more gets annoyed by him. And the one person that got in his way was TJP, who's been trying to get his hands on the title, and somehow, however, we just saw the sudden appearance of Manic. Now, we all know who Manic is underneath that mask. It's TJP, but however, the more decided not to deny or confirm, even though he was happy that Rohit Raju lost the title. So it's like, thank God. He was getting annoyed. But however, we are expecting in Hard to Kill Manic being in it, putting the title on the line against not only Rohit Raju, but also Chris Bay. So this is going to be an interesting thing. Now, next thing we see is the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. As you know, the person who was inducted into the Hall of Fame is none other than the most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. Now, if you guys are asking, wait a minute, why is Ken Shamrock in it? If you guys are new to this channel, the reason this happened, ever since he left WWE, he actually ended up with going to TNA. He was there when the first show came out, and he was also there when he won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship from that time, making himself the first. Now, however, since then, he has made appearances in TNA and Impact over time, and the person who inducted him into the Hall of Fame, you probably may have heard of this all over the social media, all over the wrestling news. We're talking about, if you smell what The Rock is cooking. Yes, he inducted him. So he gave some very good speech about how he felt that he made him look more of a better heel during that time, and Shamrock was the good guy, that sort of thing. So he was thankful for that, and of course Shamrock, who gave a really good speech, how all he ever wanted to be was a pro wrestling wrestler prior before he became a MMA fighter. So it was a pretty good ceremony, and I did enjoy it. Now, they always have this thing of match of the year. Now, there's been many matches of the years, and this one was the best one. This one was back in Slammiversary for the vacant Impact World title. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, I'll give you a brief history. Last year, Tessa Blanchard was the first ever female to win the Impact World title. Now, ever since the pandemic struck, we haven't seen her since then. Now, from what people need to understand, she was stuck in Mexico. You know how there's restrictions of traveling from one country to another, it goes up. Now, Impact has been asking her to send some video promos. She has been doing that. So they were having problems with her. So they made the logical decision to terminate her, and second of all, to strip her of the title. Now, from what I can gather, she was unable to send the title back to them, so they built a new one. You see, the old one was more of a, how do I say, a silver type plate on the front, but the new one has gold plated type. So that's the difference. So they decided to put the title on the line on Slammiversary. Now, the initial wrestlers who were supposed to be in it was Trey Miguel, Ace Austin, and Eddie Edwards, and then there was supposed to be a surprise wrestler. It was none other than Rich Swann. But however, the entire wrestling world was shocked with the sudden return of the world-class maniac Eric Young. Now, this was a really good match. Now, these 5 individuals were willing to win the title. Now, it was Trey Miguel, who actually was eliminated first, and then all of a sudden, Eric Young, Rich Swann, and then Ace Austin allowing for Eddie Edwards to pick up the victory. So this led to that story with Rich Swann, where we all thought his career was over, but he didn't, and Eric Young revealing himself, thinking that the world doesn't belong. So that's how the whole story began. So I have to say, best of 2020 was really good. Can't wait to see them go back, do some matches next week. So right now, I'm going to give you guys, the last thing I'm going to do is, of course, news updates. So let's do that right now. Alright, so here's some news updates for all you guys. Tragic news happened this morning. This woman named Guadalupe Lizarraga, who is in fact the wife of former WCW star Damien 666 and mother of current wrestling star Beastia 666, was announced that she passed away today due to her battle with the COVID-19. Now, this news came around back early in December, where it was revealed that everybody in the family were contracted the virus back in Tijuana, Mexico. Now, from what I understand, Damien 666 actually checked himself out. He was discharged on December 18th, but however, it appears that things were not looking good for Damien 666's wife, and she was pronounced dead because of that. One of my friends who wrestled him here in San Diego, named Hunter Freeman, left some great sent out his condolences and prayers. I know many wrestlers who know him here in San Diego. I even seen both Damien and Beastia face to face before. I saw them in the match against Bateman and another guy. I forgot who it was. It was a good match. They were right in front of me. This was on Rey Mysterio's Lucha Wonderland show. But it's really sad that this happened, especially to them. But all we can do is pay our condolences and prayers to both Damien 666 and his son Beastia 666. Now, as you know, the tragic news that happened this past Saturday regarding the shocking passing of Brodie Lee, we got more information that came out. Now, there's been a lot of speculation believing that he died from the COVID-19. Others are saying that had to do with the injuries he obtained from that dog collar match that he had with Cody for the TNT title. Well, we don't know for sure if there was any play. But however, it did reveal that Brodie Lee was having lung issues. He was having problems breathing. Now, he was sent to Mayo Clinic to be checked in to find out what's going on. But apparently, from what we understand now, it appears that the entire AEW roster, including Tony Khan, were well aware of what was going on. So they were told to keep this on a tight lid, not to reveal it. And this was out of the request and wishes of his wife, Amanda, who wanted this to be quiet. I know many people, but there was a report coming from Dave Meltzer saying that there was a source that told him that Brodie Lee was in a hospital. Not a lot of the details. So basically, he could not get a confirmation until Brodie Lee passed away. So basically, Dave Meltzer did not report this because the thing is this. If you heard a source of something like this, you have to know for sure if this is 100 true or not. But however, he did not get that, so he could not report it. Constantly saying, "I the reports are coming in that he's in the hospital," but you have to confirm 100% sure. But if AEW, I have to say, they kept a very good tight lid on this one, not revealing what's going on with Brodie Lee. I know that people probably be curious, but however, we cannot speculate what really happened. I'm sure there will be an autopsy on him to find out what really happened. If he did have lung issues, hopefully. But according to what they're saying, his condition got worse over a month ago, and it kind of made things worse for him. His condition was getting worse and worse and worse. We don't know the extent of his illness, but I'm sure this was a very painful. I did see a lot of tweets of people. Even the one person in WWE got hit the most was none other than um, Xavier Woods, who was hit hard with the passing of John Hubbard, better known as Brodie Lee. So he actually put like a little bit of a video compilation what he looked like outside of the ring when he's not that big giant serial killer gigantic monster. I thought it was pretty cool. It was a really interesting stuff for him to show people who really John Hubbard really is, the man who's not, the giant. So I think that's it right now for all of you guys, and I hope you guys are ready to see this tribute show. I'm excited, and I know there's been reports coming, and even Brian Myers said this, that he thought it was ridiculous that WWE did not do the 10 bell salute or a video package. But keep in mind, the only reason this tribute is happening was because AEW decided to honor one of their own. WWE have no say in it because A, he's no longer part of the roster, and two, not a whole lot happens with wrestlers when they pass, especially those, except for those with the long and standing reputation, that sort of thing. But it is what it is. WWE is going to be criticized. It's their loss on this one, but this will be a good thing for WWE to do something special because this will be their first time doing a tribute show to one of their own, and it's going to be an amazing. And of course, the matches are set. So I hope you guys did enjoy this episode. Me reviewing all of the latest wrestling events with Impact and of course um, what was it, AEW Dark, and give you guys these updates that's happening. So I must bid all of you guys adieu. I'll see you next time. So goodbye, mwah, and have a nice day. Bang.